Good morning, Leela. Michael, hello. Here we are again. And I will trust that the sound is good and in both ears if you're listening to earbuds. We had that technical issue recently. That I guess everyone who was listening with earbuds, headphones. Good morning, Kay. Everyone would have only one ear. I think we've conquered that issue. So I think I've recognized most of the icons. It's all different now. Like they don't scroll anymore. They hover in place. It's weird. I don't know what it is for you guys, but I can mostly only really know who's here by who says hello. But oh, good to hear, Michael. Yeah, I'd been making a screen grab of the video of these because I can't share it from the site, but I can like play it and do a screen record. And I was able to listen to that moment when I made the switch, and I was like, "Whoa, that's way better." So, hi, Flo. All right. All right. Well, we're almost at that point where we generally start our opening meditation. It will be pretty short, like 7 or so minutes. A guided meditation. Listen to the guidance to the degree that it's helpful to you and enjoy. Hi, Michelle. All right. Here we go. It's a nice thing about meditation practice is, I guess you say, low barrier to entry. But that depends on how you look at that. It tends to be pretty inexpensive. You can do it anywhere. But getting ourselves to do it, maybe some of us have the experience where it wasn't always easy, or maybe it still isn't. That's certainly the case for me sometimes. So it's nice when we can gather and we've sort of lowered the initial barrier. We're made the decision to practice, and we can let that fill our hearts, the shared intention. We've we often feel the shared intention for well-being for ourselves and this group when we're here. So let that color the mind as we begin practice. And then we come to the barriers to concentration and mindfulness when we're sitting here, so we're technically doing the practice. But it's the momentum of the mind, the restlessness in the body. So we take some intentional steps to bring calm. We can focus on our in and out breaths, following them all the way through the in breath, all the way through the out breath, and through that gentle focus, try to start to bring ease within the body. Sense the sensations of breathing first where they're most noticeable, and as the body and mind become more and more still, we can sense the growing range of the influence of the breath. So breathing in and out, feeling refreshment, feeling ease, sort of leaning into that refreshment and ease, general sense of well-being, kind of growing into the sense of the body as a whole. Sometimes concentration is experienced as a sense of fullness. And it can play with our attention, our intentions, our breath, moving the mind around the body, doing like a body scan, or just focusing on a part of the body that's easy to work with, like I've spoken about before, working with the hands. I find it easy to feel that sense of fullness, almost a comfortable heaviness in the hands. We look for places of ease and well-being that we might be able to generalize, spread in our body, in our life. Hey, Leslie. Good to see you. Hey, what's up, Jude? So now I'll talk a little bit about the subject today, which sorry to hear that, Jude. Only for the first half. Well, I'll try to make the first half extra special. No, we do that together, so it will be great. But maybe I will run through it pretty quickly, so we get to talk more quickly. This is really it is really just a proposition, and you guys probably kind of get it already, the idea. So I call it making the mind propaganda proof. We've obviously I'm talking about that from as above so below, as within so without. That there are these competing voices in our mind. Thanissaro Bhikkhu calls it the committee of the mind. Another person I've heard called the school bus of selves. Um, so voices, selves, tendencies. You think of the classic devil and angel on each shoulder. One is posing as a friend, and one is the real friend, you could say. Um, so what impels our actions? Satisfying base desires, obviously, on the one hand, and satisfying what? A call to goodness, true well being. And it's a complex system, and the complexity can hide underlying motivations, right? Just like news organizations reporting on industrial or medical war policy become suspect when they're funded by advertisements that benefit those industries. What we understand as a good decision in the moment can be tainted by base desires, and they overlap, right? Because the propagandists and marketers know this about the human mind. So there are things that are, you could say, that are installed in there for the long game to get us to maybe do things that aren't really for our well-being, you know? So, what do we do? I think one of the things is, obviously, the idea of virtue in general in spiritual philosophy is how do we test our words and deeds and thoughts, or what do we test our words and deeds and thoughts against? Probably the most basic, broadest way to look at it in Buddhist terms is what when I do it will be for my long-term happiness and well-being. What would I do it will be for my long-term pain and suffering. And that takes some contemplation. Sometimes it seems like things that are for our well-being turn out to not be. And they also offer just basic guidelines. Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, don't harm through sexuality, and don't get intoxicated. Those are sort of the basic tenets for Buddhist lay people. And then, of course, we know about, in Judeo-Christian, we know the Ten Commandments, which there's a fair amount of overlap there, and a few other things added in that we can test things against. The stealing and the bearing false witness are there. No coveting. I think I was born a skeptic, which is good for ducking all the propaganda, but it also means I take no one's word at face value, which is probably kind of sad. So I am still chipping away at the skills of discernment. Yeah, it's definitely, there's definitely a two-way street in that. It can be how cynical is our skepticism. I think, I'm definitely a skeptic on a lot of levels, especially with some of the propaganda stuff. But yeah, just to wrap up on that, kind of interesting. So I did like the Buddhist and then the Judeo-Christian. The kind of the most simple and radical one is like the kind of in the New Covenant for Christian is love God and love other people, and um, it can be but maybe it's too big a story to get into the love God part right now. But the loving other people, just thinking about how radical that is in as far as what it seems that the media want us to do. This idea, like I said, of like having these ideas installed in us, it seems like that is not what is wanted for us. And I feel that very much coming from all sides, all directions. As far as um, the was it? I mean, I'm trying to. They used to call it mainstream. Yeah, corporate legacy stuff doesn't seem. Anyway, so asking ourselves, testing, like, is this propaganda? Is this for the good? Okay, does it line up with loving other people? Does it line up with not killing, stealing, harming, lying? So yeah, I will take any additional thoughts. Any other skeptics out there, or do we have people who just believe everything? So it's maybe in some ways easier to discern what's real in the outside world compared with our inner world thoughts. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Is it possible to love everybody? Well, that's a koan of its own. Uh, it's the challenge. I think that is a part of it because the idea of expressing ultimates, like in that particular religion, we are supposed to be like Jesus, who loved everybody. Someone said on a podcast I heard that mindfulness is being monetized, but I'd argue the opposite, that the unmindful have been monetized since currency was invented. Huh. Yeah, well, I guess I see both of those things. Clearly, mindfulness has become a very lucrative business. There are, yeah, that's true. But I mean, that's not to say that it's not useful still. I mean, you know, but yeah, you're right. I mean, depends on what you call love. What do you mean by love? Hmm. Yeah, this is a very useful question too. In I generally speak of talk about goodwill here, right? The wish for well-being, and that's as hard as that can be sometimes. That's definitely an easier one than trying to grapple with the idea of love. So that's a good question, Sophie. Um, yeah, let's make it easier and say goodwill, and this would mean that even if it's a person that we find despicable, we wish that were they could find happiness because if they could find happiness, they probably would not be despicable, right? Um, and I don't know, is that a cheat code using a different religion? I mean, goodwill is expressed all over Christianity as well. But, yeah, yeah, clearly. Well, that's a challenge as well. Um, there are all kinds of things that we find distasteful, but where will our love be more meaningful? Where will it find its greatest expression? In the people who are easy to love or the people who are hard to love. So that's and it doesn't always have to mean invite them into your house, but yeah. And this is the idea. We're playing with our hearts. We're challenging them, I think. So Leslie's saying, I find it helpful whenever something is presented to us to ask a few questions like, is it true? Does this serve me? Does this serve me? Yeah. Is this for my long-term well-being, or is this for my long-term pain and suffering? Yeah, the word love is certainly misused, Sophie. Yeah, so what do you guys think about, as far as the usefulness of the word love versus goodwill? And I agree that I don't know about love, it's certainly probably misused, but it does have types, right? There are different types, you know. There's romantic love, there's the way we parental love of children. Let's see. Whoops. I remember what I need to do. Let's see. Do you think phenomenology can help to better read situations? Seems like there are some common points with Buddhism when it comes to observing thoughts. I think I might want you to elaborate on that. Some common points with Buddhism within itself or within other religions. If I could, that's an interesting distinction. One requiring action, goodwill not requiring action, but love requiring action. I would say if you truly have goodwill, it will, I think action will flow out from it, I would say. There's like a basis. But let's see. Love. Can we forgive those who have harmed us and others? Find it easier to forgive if I've been hurt, but harder when others suffer and there's no remorse. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly hard to empathize with basically a sociopath. Or, if someone who has no remorse. Um, there's hard, our human heart is hard. We don't connect. And then how do we forgive if we can't connect to it? But I guess the next step there is, wow, how empty and, what must that be like to live in that, uh, deprivation, I guess. Wait, leave those otters alone. I think I'm missing. Is there something in the news about otters? Wait, or am I being dense? We can become conditioned to think a certain way if we spend a lot of time reading or listening to the same ideas without questioning. Oh yeah, that there you go. So now we might be listening to like the best, like one of the best options, but that can still, kind of get stuff stuck in there. That's a really good point. And chances are we have like a mix. Some are probably better quality than others. So yeah, that's self-propagandizing, because nowadays it's not like everyone's watching the same three channels. It was easy to get all of them, but now it's quite a bit of variety. I think there are always forces pushing for homogeneity, but there's just so much. So we kind of do it to ourselves, right? So I've seen people whose action, non-action, brought harm, but they justify under good intentions. Yeah. So that's definitely kind of a like kind of empty good intention thing. Like all talk, no action. I get it. Yeah. Oh. I missed it. Oh, got it. It was. I can see it if I look close enough, but I probably just read over it. And it's a little small. Well, dang it! I'm glad a joke happened, even if I didn't get it. Ooh, I like that. Propaganda always needs a spark within the receiver that can be fanned. Yeah, yeah, I like that. And you guys, some of you know, I like to use that analogy of like having this little ember. Uh, so whatever we're meditating on, like goodwill, actually, it's a good one too. Just when we're trying to inspire that sensation and feeling in our minds and bodies, whatever. Uh, Sometimes it's just very small, or even just concentration. Like it's very minor, but it's there. It's in us somewhere, and we want to protect it and nurture it, and then fan it. So here's the opposite, right? Um, you could just think of it in terms of our base desires. Watching the Snickers commercial. It's probably combining some lust and some gluttony and fanning the flames. That's kind of in all of us. So we're sort of subverting that, right? We're making it right uh, in our practice. Yeah, what we pay attention to grows. That's right. I think it's important to listen to different perspectives for balance. Absolutely agree. Definitely. What's that? That reminds me of. There's like a rhyming thing, like fires together, wires together. Uh, Something to do with like neural pathways and stuff, like trying to get the mind to. Anyway, it works with sparks too. I think of I think of sparks when I think of neurons, like because am I the only one? I don't know. Yeah, energy goes where attention flows. That's another one. Yeah, yeah. And there's another one that's fires together wires, like neurons that fire together wire together. Yeah. So it's when you're trying to do behaviors and stuff like that, and then yeah, and they're similar. Nice. Yeah. Listen to understand, not to respond. Yeah. So Leela's saying, I have to really talk to a person who I might disagree with to get to that place of understanding and seeing their perspective. Yeah. And I think we just don't do that enough, probably. We caricature them. Someone who believes it. I saw, like, it was, someone did a post, like, it was like, if you think this about this, then fuck you. I was like, oh, all right. Well, that just stops it dead. I'm like I actually have a lot of friends who think that way, but I have a lot of friends who would agree with you probably. I have a pretty wide perspective on this. I'm not getting into the subject matter. Just forget about that one. We just blow the thing up. But let's see, yeah, that's a good point. You got to talk to them. Get out there in the flesh, smell them. Yes, to really understand others' perspective. Yeah, that's what is love. Certainly not. We can't decide if there's love there through if we're being propagandized through. You know, you gotta be with people. See, I do too, Leslie. We also need to understand what others we don't agree with are listening to, so we understand more about their why, their reasons, even if we don't agree. That's right. Totally, we make assumptions and think we know, but we don't really. We need to remain open to different perspectives. Successful propaganda amplifies minor grievances. To be proof, proof to it, we must clean house. Yeah, that's a really good point too. The minor ones, like we're given the what is it, Overton window. It's like here, and so they can be fighting over this while the big wheels keep on turning. You know, that's yeah. But yeah, it's funny. Like I knew when I came up with the subject because that I don't know. Actually, we have been doing a good job going within and without, but like, so I guess part of the reason why I don't bring up a specific sort of whatever propaganda issue or political issue is that would just suck us completely into the outside. And what I want us to do is to be thinking about ourselves and our own minds. Um, and so you guys do a really good job of like getting that, keeping it right on the line. But, let's see. All right. Well, pretty soon. I'm gonna not jump right in, but we can do a meditation at any time now. If there's anybody new here, right on, Jude. We did perfect timing. You can meditate on your own anytime, and we pretty much, I think we did good. Thanks for being here, man. We'll see you soon. Um, so yeah, if there's anybody new here, that's kind of what we do. Opening meditation, a little presentation discussion, and then soon now I will do another guided meditation up until the end of the hour. We continue our discussions at a InsightTimer group called Mark Zelinsky Live Group. So I encourage you to join that. It's pretty non-invasive. there aren't there are not a lot of it's not very busy, but it's very heartfelt, and very little propaganda. So join us. Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. That's the name of it. So I think we did it. We got quiet a little bit, but somebody might be writing something longer right now. That's the tricky part. It's okay. Now we'll get started, and if somebody comes up with a longer point or question, and they want to just put it there, I can address it at the end, or you can save it until the end. Happy to talk more, and I'm also happy always to discuss separately. People will send me messages asking about, you know, anything, and sometimes it turns into a longer conversation back and forth in email, but never hesitate. Always send me a message if you want to. Thanks, Leslie. Appreciate it. And likewise, it's, this group is good at that. We're good at making a buffet of thoughts together, I think. So often, depending on what we talk about, the sensation the, going into the guided meditation is different. I talk about the momentum of the mind. So the momentum of the mind before the beginning of the hour for the first meditation kind of comes from wherever we were during the day. And for the second meditation, it's, comes from our discussion, subject matter. And it's kind of different each time. Sometimes it's a little softer, more light and gladdening. And this one, it feels to me more analytical in a way. Talk about the different sides. So the concentration side thing, the side of things, mindfulness side of things, tranquility side versus the insight side. Finding the balance. So where my mind is more active, I feel like I want to calm the body. I want to bring my attention to the body, to make way for the mind, make space. So sensing into the posture, feeling into some details like where the body meets the ground, body meets the chair or cushion. If you want to have a good foundation for what can be, a lot of information, an onslaught at times, this world of information, we want to have some things, the things that we can make solid, balanced, grounded. We spend more energy doing that. It might feel like on a day-to-day we don't have the time for that, but we can't really afford not to if we want to be balanced, well, capable, helpful, loving in this world. So just the rootedness to the earth, stability. We might gradually move our attention up through the spine, up through the body, making the body straight, not leaning too far forward or too far back, or to the left or to the right. And this can be an analogy for the mind. We don't lean too far into the future, too far into the past, or to greed or hatred. Put that aside for these brief moments. Stay centered in this moment, centered in this body. And if we want entertainment, we have the rising and falling breath. Doesn't seem like much at first, but it is quite varied, quite connected, influential, and influenced. Might choose to exert a little of our influence, saying, when's the last time I took a proper, deep, nourishing breath? This is especially the case at the beginning of the meditation. I've been talking a lot, but in registering, well, how does that feel? And of course, we have a great supply of these breaths to watch and ask the question. And then what happens if I modify the breath? How does it feel then? And we might work our way to those broader questions, the bigger questions, like what when I do it, is for my long-term well-being? Is this practice causing pain and suffering? And of course, there are times where we wouldn't decide to sit and practice if someone needed help, someone needed saving, or some responsibility came up. It wouldn't make sense. But generally, we can find some time that we could answer the question, yes, this is for our long-term well-being. A practice with potential. So the basic jobs for the mind, whenever in doubt, we can do the looking through the body, solidifying, balancing the body, observing the breath, filling the body with the sensation of breath, filling the body with awareness. We can assign imaginative ideas to that: light, mist, looking to refresh and settle, make it a good abiding, good place for the mind to live for this time being. And insofar as the directives from the mind, what we've just said, but getting more into the abstract, we might think of things like goodwill, gratitude, compassion. If the mind strays into thought, we might first notice the thought. What kind of thought? From whence does this thought arise? Is it a thought that's in line with our well-being? And if it's not, absolutely, we let it go, put it down. And if it's a thought that could be for our well-being, we might still have to decide if we want to deal with it now or wait till later. Might be a thought for some nourishing food, and that is, of course, okay. But since we're in meditation time, our food, our entertainment is our, again, breath, awareness in the body. Find refreshment in the moment here, returning again and again. So, up until that silence, of course, this being a guided meditation, my voice would stand in for some internal directives, like if you were doing your own practice, just a quiet, a silent practice. So, how did the mind like the silence? My first thought was that some minds are probably pretty grateful, and some might be like, oh, where to go? What's next? Did the mind keep doing some of the things, some of the ideas, suggestions? That's, guided meditation, just suggestions. And sometimes as we come closer to the end of the practice, I like to kind of change the formula just a little bit. We say we don't lean forward into the future or back into the past or to left or right, greed, hatred, etc. But at the end, I like to do just a little lean forward into the future sometimes and say, well, we've come this far in our meditation, and how might I capture and bring some of this forward to whatever degree you found this to be a useful practice? How might it inform, the moment I open my eyes? What happens, as this session's wrapping up, when I get up and leave this room and see other people, interact with other people, whether in person or through electronics? What wishes would I send forward? How would I like my heart to be conditioned? What condition would I like my heart to be in to receive the world? I was driven, I have to admit, here by the voice of my stomach growling I think I probably wouldn't have wrapped up quite as quickly, but then I was like, oh my God, it's just getting louder. I try not to, I don't eat until after this. I like to, have that nice empty feeling. But the stomach has different ideas, you know? So, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. Appreciate everyone for being here. So this is our thing that we try to do on most Sundays at around this time. Thank you, Kay. And again, we talk further and we mention when they've been scheduled at the live group, Mark Zielinski live group. Thanks, Leslie. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Leela. Really appreciate it. So yeah, let's do it again sometime soon, and come and say hi, and recommend a movie, write a poem, just bring your goodwill and or love to us in the live group. All right. Well, thanks so much. Thank you, Leslie. Really appreciate the donation. Very kind of you. All right. Okay. Have a great week, guys. Adios.